In this video, we're going to go through a three-dimensional extrude. This takes a two-dimensional sketch and extrudes it perpendicular to the direction of the sketch. There's a few options. First, we can start with the sketch in the sketch tab. And again, it doesn't matter if you select the plane first or sketch first. It takes you to the same place. And I'm going to sketch something out real quick and dimension. Now that I have my sketch, I have it selected over here. I can go into features and choose extruded boss base. I have a couple different options with my extrude. I can change the direction using this arrow on the left, or I can click and drag this gray arrow to be where I want. And I can also set the depth here. We have some more options here in the direction, but I'm going to get into those a little more later. And I'm going to save my extrude. The other option is I can start with extrude and then select my surface. And then when I hit this button in the upper right, it brings me straight into my extrude page. And I can choose where I want that to go. In Solidworks, extruding and cutting are two different features. I can start with my extruded cut feature or start with a sketch. It doesn't matter which one you do. And it brings me straight into my cut. I can choose my depth in the same way here. I'm going to keep it at 0.05. Hit OK, and you can see that that was cut out of my shape. If for whatever reason I realized that maybe this was a mistake and this was also supposed to be a cut, I can go in and delete that extrude. And my sketch is left behind. I can click on it, choose extrude cut, and modify that feature. And you can see that now that was cut out. Now I want to talk about depths. So I'm going to create a cut real quick so I can show you a little bit more about how to modify your depth. And I want to make this sketch an extruded cut. We're already familiar with the blind extrude, which just sets it to a certain distance, as shown here. But we can also explore some of these others. Through all will cut through every surface in its path in that direction. Up to next will bring it to the next surface in its way. Up to surface, I can select a certain surface, and it will cut through to that surface. And midplane will cut it evenly on two sides. For this, I'm going to say up to next. And I also want to show you that you can do a second direction and set it differently than the first. But in this case, there's nothing in that opposite direction, so this doesn't really matter. And I'm going to deselect it. The last thing I want to talk about is the mouse controls. I can press and hold the middle mouse button to rotate my object. I can scroll to zoom. And if I hold my control key and I click and drag with that middle mouse button, I can pan.